The lonely stars, the stars above, were cold and quiet. On the edge of a broken world, far from Earth, a small alien child sat in the ashes. His name was Ril, and he was hungry. His belly made small, painful noises, but there was no food. Just dust, broken stones, and the sound of the wind behind him. In the remains of an old house, his mother and little sister lay together. They were weak, almost silent. They were the last ones left. Their village had once been full of life. Laughter, color, warm lights. But then the war came. Soldiers fell from the sky. Machines walked across their land. And fire. So much fire. Now, only 3 of them remained, hiding, starving, afraid. They feared humans. Everyone did. Humans were monsters in the stories. Fast, clever, and heartless. They came with fire and steel. They destroyed everything. So when Ril heard the strange sound in the sky, a deep, rumbling growl, he crawled back into the ruins. Whispered, "Mama, someone is coming." His mother opened her eyes. Her voice was dry. "Hide." They pressed close together, barely breathing. The sky shook again. Then it landed. A silver craft, shaped like a tear, touched the earth not far from their home. Dust rose in the air. The door opened with a hiss, and a human stepped out. He was tall, wrapped in a dark coat. His boots crunched on the ground. A large bag hung from his shoulder. His face was covered, but they could see his eyes, sharp, tired, and strangely sad. Ril's mother pulled him closer. "Don't move," she whispered. "He'll leave." But he didn't. The human stood still, looking around. Slowly, he placed the bag on the ground. Then he took something out, a can of food. Carefully, he opened it and placed it near the ruins. He also dropped a small metal cube, glowing softly. Then he stepped back and sat down on a rock nearby. Not too close. Not too far. He waited. For a long time, nobody moved. Finally, Ril's little sister made a small sound. A cough. The human didn't react. He just sat there, watching the stars. Then Ril's nose caught something. Something new, smell, food, real food. He couldn't help it. His stomach pushed him forward. One step, then another. "Ril, no." His mother hissed, but he was already crawling toward the can. His hands trembled. The human didn't move. Didn't speak. Ril grabbed the can. He sniffed it. Warm, meaty, real. He looked at the human, confused. "Why?" he asked, just one word. The man looked at him. His voice was deep, soft. "Because you're hungry." Ril blinked. "You're human." "I know. Humans kill." The man nodded. "Some do, not all." That night they ate. Not much. Just enough to feel alive again. The man gave them water, a small fire, and even a blanket. He didn't ask questions. He didn't come too close. He just helped. The children watched him carefully. He looked different than the soldiers. His eyes were gentle. His hands didn't shake with anger. He sat quietly, staring at the stars. Ril whispered to his sister, "Maybe he is not like the others." She called him Lightbringer because he made fire, gave food, and came from the sky. The name stayed. The man smiled at her once. It was a small smile, almost broken. When they asked his name, he just said, "Call me Jack." That night, Jack sat outside while the family slept. He held a small device in his hand, blinking red. He tapped it, frowned, and looked up at the stars. His voice was low, but Ril heard it. 3 days left. "They'll find me soon." He didn't know Ril was awake, watching, listening. And Ril didn't know that. Jack had come to this planet for a reason. Not to fight, not to conquer, but to run. From what? That was still a secret. Asterisk the stranger with fire, the nights on that planet were long, cold, and silent. But tonight, something felt different. Ril couldn't sleep. Not after everything. The fire crackled softly nearby. His little sister curled up in a blanket, snoring gently. His mother slept with one hand still resting on her children, as if afraid they might vanish. And just beyond the firelight, he sat Jack, the human, the stranger with fire. He was staring into the flames, not blinking. His face was hard to read. Sometimes kind, sometimes heavy, like he carried something no one could see. Like he had secrets tucked inside his bones. Rill crawled closer, quietly. Jack didn't move, but he spoke. Couldn't sleep? Rill paused, startled. You knew? Jack gave a small, tired smile. The fire talks. It tells me who's awake. Rill frowned. You're strange, Jack chuckled. I've heard that before. They sat in silence for a moment. The flames danced between them. Then Rill asked, Why did you help us? Jack's smile faded. He took a long breath. Because no one helped me. That answer didn't make sense to Rill, but he didn't push. He just stared at Jack's hands. Strong, scarred. One finger had a metal ring. It flashed when the firelight hit it. There was a strange symbol on it, not human, not alien. Where are you from? Rill asked. Jack looked up at the stars. Far away, too far. Are you a soldier? No. But you have weapons. Jack nodded. Yes. Then why are you here? Jack didn't answer this time. Instead, he tossed something into the fire, a small black cube. It sparked, then burst into blue flame for a second. The fire shifted, and suddenly it changed color. Blue, then green, then purple. Rill gasped. Magic. Jack shook his head. Just chemistry, but it looks cool, right? Rill laughed softly. But Jack didn't. Instead, Jack stood up and walked to his ship. He pressed his hand to a panel, and it slid open with a soft hiss. He disappeared inside. Rill waited. 1 minute, 25. Then, curiosity won. He followed inside. The ship was small but full of strange lights and soft humming sounds. Screens glowed. One showed a map, the planet, blinking dots, and a red circle slowly closing in on their location. Rill froze. Jack stood near the control panel, typing quickly. What is that? Rill asked. Jack spun around. His face tightened for a moment, not angry, but serious. That ... as trouble. He pointed to the red circle. That means someone is tracking me. They're getting closer. Who? Jack paused. People I used to work for. Rill stepped back. You're dangerous. Jack looked away. I didn't say I wasn't. That night, Rill returned to the others but didn't sleep. His mind was loud. The next morning, the sky was cloudy. The wind smelled like metal. Jack gave them more food, ration packs from his ship, the kind human soldiers used during war. He boiled water, made tea, even taught Rill's sister how to make a fire without matches. She giggled and called him Fireman. But Jack kept looking up, always checking the sky. His jaw tight, his hands restless. That evening, Rill found Jack cleaning a small weapon, something sleek and silent. Rill asked, Are you going to run? Jack answered, No. Why? Because if I run, they'll find you too. I stay, you stay safe. Rill didn't understand. Why would a human protect aliens? No one ever had. That night, everything changed. A sound split the sky, not a ship. Not thunder, something deeper. Jack stood instantly. He grabbed his bag, his weapon, and tossed a small cube to Rill. Don't lose this, he said. No matter what. What is it? Help when the time comes. Suddenly, a voice crackled from Jack's ship. A cold, robotic voice. Unit 17 located. Signal confirmed. Move in. Rill's heart stopped. Jack's face darkened. They're here, he whispered. He turned to Rill. Hide. Take your family. Go to the trees. But what about you? I'll buy you time. But go! Rill grabbed his sister and mother. They ran into the woods, hiding beneath thick branches. The night was full of soft lights now, glowing red, sweeping across the ground. Then the soldiers arrived, humans in black suits. Guns ready, faces hard. They surrounded Jack, but Jack didn't run. He raised his hands. One soldier stepped forward. "You broke the code, Jack." Jack smiled. "Funny, I thought I was the only one who remembered it." The soldier raised his weapon, but before anything could happen, the cube in Real's pocket blinked, once, then twice. Soft voice whispered from it. "This is not the end. This is just the escape." Asterisk whispers in the dark. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Real crouched beneath a thick, glowing-leafed bush, his little sister pressed tight against him. Their mother lay beside them, weak, eyes half closed. Trying to stay awake. The cube Jack gave them pulsed in Real's hand. Soft blue light, like a heartbeat. He couldn't stop staring at it. What was it? A weapon? A tracker? A gift? A curse? Behind them, the lights of the human soldiers lit the ruins like fireflies. Jack's voice was gone now. No gunshots. No shouting. Just silence. "That was worse than anything," Real whispered. "He told us to run. But he's not running." His mother didn't answer. She was shivering. Not from cold, but from fear. From memory. They had seen what humans did to those who resisted. Burned villages. Vanished families. But Jack wasn't like them. Right? Suddenly, a twig snapped. I'll froze. He turned. There, just meters away, stood a dark shape. Not human, not alien, tall, thin, its eyes glowing faintly green. It didn't walk. It hovered, asterisk, and it was watching them. Real clutched the cube. The shape leaned forward and spoke in a voice like whispers breaking glass. "Unit 17 has gone rogue. The human must be retrieved. You are contamination." Real didn't understand the words, but the tone? Pure threat. He backed away slowly. The thing raised an arm, part metal, part bone, and aimed it at Real's mother. "No!" Real shouted. In that moment, the cube flared. Asterisk, a bright flash, blue and white, and suddenly the ground shook. A dome of light burst from the cube, knocking the creature back. It screamed, a horrible mechanical screech, and vanished. Into the shadows. Real was breathing hard. His sister cried. His mother passed out. The cube dimmed, quiet again. But now Real knew it wasn't just a cube. It was protection, and maybe more. Far away. Inside a locked ship, Jack sat with blood on his lip, hands bound behind him. 3 soldiers stood outside the force field that held him in. The one in the middle, a woman with sharp eyes and a colder voice, leaned forward. "Why then, Jack?" she asked. "They're not your species. They're not your war. So why protect them?" Jack smiled with cracked lips. "Because no one protected mine. And because you stopped being human a long time ago." She didn't flinch. "You just gave alien children access to Class 6 tech. You know what that makes you?" Jack looked her dead in the eye. "A good man." She turned and walked away. Behind her, Jack whispered something to himself. "They'll survive. They have to." That cube ... was never for me. Back in the woods. Hours later, Real waited until morning. His mother still slept, but her breathing was better. The cube hadn't glowed again. But now there were symbols on its surface, small alien shapes that rearranged every few minutes. His sister said it was talking to itself. Real didn't know what to believe, but he knew one thing. They couldn't stay here. He remembered the map inside Jack's ship, the blinking dots, the red circle, and suddenly he understood. The cube wasn't just protection. It was a map, a path. A mission. Jack wanted them to reach something. Somewhere safe. Somewhere hidden. Or maybe someone else like him. He looked down at the cube. "Show me," he whispered, and it did. A soft light beamed from it, drawing a line. In the air, a glowing path through the forest. The journey had begun. Asterisk. But they were not alone. The floating creature had returned, watching them from the trees. It wasn't working alone. Others like it moved quietly, half shadow, half machine, tracking, not just the children, not just the cube, but what they might become if they survived. Inside the ship, the female soldier received a transmission, static, then a single line. Cube has activated. Route is live. Subject 0 may be forming. Her eyes widened. She turned to her men. We can't let them reach it. If they do, it's not just war anymore. It's evolution. Rill didn't know that. All he knew was this. The human gave him something valuable, not just food. Not just fire. Hope. And now he had to carry it. Not just for himself. Not just for his family. But maybe for everyone, even humans. Betrayal or mercy. The journey had begun. Through broken forests and shattered valleys, Rill walked with his mother and sister. The cube floated above them now, glowing faintly, casting a moving light path only they could see. It didn't speak. It guided. Each night, the stars above felt colder. Not because of weather, but because they were being watched. Rill felt it. Every step. Eyes in the trees, shapes in the mist. And whispers. Always the whispers. They weren't alone. Back on the human ship, Jack sat in his cold metal cell, wrists bleeding from tight restraints. His captors hadn't spoken to him since the first day. Not with words, just silence. And the hum of engines. Until now, a soft hiss. The door slid open. The woman in black, Commander Rain, entered, carrying a datapad. She looked at Jack without emotion. They're still alive. Jack didn't blink. Good, you're not. They'll catch them, you know that. No, they won't. She raised an eyebrow. You gave them the cube, the real one. Jack leaned forward. And you still don't understand why. That's why you'll lose. Her voice was ice. You betrayed your own species, Jack laughed bitterly. No, you betrayed what it meant to be human. She slammed the datapad against the wall. They are just alien children. They are more, Jack said calmly. They remember what kindness looks like. That makes them better than us. Silence stretched. Then she whispered something that made the air colder. They won't survive long. The hunters are already tracking them. You gave them tech they can't control. Jack's eyes narrowed. They don't need to control it. They need to trust it. That's enough. Meanwhile, miles away, the cube stopped. It hovered in front of a cave carved into a canyon wall. Black stone, ancient, symbols etched into the sides, long forgotten. Rill looked at his mother. She was pale, her breathing shallow. They had no more food. No water, just the cube. And Hope. The cave called to him. As they stepped inside, the cube lit up brighter, like it recognized the place, as if it had. Come home. Inside, they found a small chamber, dusty, cold, but untouched. In the center was a metal plate with a strange mark, the same as Jack's ring. Rill touched it. The floor rumbled. Walls lit up with soft lights. A panel opened. Inside, a bag. Jack's bag. He had left it here before. Inside was food, water, and a small recorder. Rill pressed play. If you're hearing this, then you're still alive. Good. That means they haven't stopped you yet. Jack's voice echoed softly in the chamber. You're not just refugees anymore. You're the mission now. What I gave you, that cube, it's a key, not just to this cave, but to something bigger. A truth. But there's something I didn't tell you. The message paused. A second voice cut in, a soldier, shouting. He gave them the real cube. Commander, he gave aliens access to the seed protocol. Shut it down now. Then the recording ended. Silence returned. Rill looked at the cube. It pulsed faster, urgently, danger close. And then, the betrayal. The cave shook. From the entrance, a shadow fell across the chamber. Three human soldiers stood there, guns raised. One of them aimed at Ril's mother without hesitation. Ril stepped in front. "Don't hurt her." The soldier barked, "Where's the cube?" Ril hesitated, but then something unexpected happened. The fourth figure stepped out of the shadows, not a soldier. "Commander." "Ryan," she raised a hand, "hold fire." The soldiers obeyed, confused. She stepped forward, slowly, looking at the children, and then at the cube. "It responded to you," she said softly. "That's impossible." Ril held it close. "Jack gave it to us." Ryan nodded. "I know. I didn't understand why. Not until now." She knelt down. I came here to take it back, to stop you, but now, I think he was right." Ril was frozen. "You won't kill us?" Ryan looked tired, old, like she'd been fighting a war inside herself. "I've seen what we've become," she said. "You're not the threat, Ril. We are." She turned to her men. "Stand down." But it was too late. One of the soldiers fired. A single shot. Time slowed. The bullet flew toward Ril's mother until the cube snapped to life. Glowing wall of light blocked the bullet mid-air. It dissolved. Gone. The cube rose into the air, brighter than ever. Then it spoke. "Protocol recognized. Defense system active. New guardian selected, Ril of Telrin." Everyone froze. Ril stared in disbelief. "What does that mean?" "The cube answered, you are the bearer now. You carry the seed of change." Meanwhile, in his prison cell, Jack smiled suddenly. The ship shook. Lights flickered. An alarm sounded. The soldier outside the cell yelled, "Sir, we lost the cube's signal." Jack whispered to himself, "They found it." Escape protocol. The cave trembled like it had a heartbeat. No one moved. No one breathed. The cube floated high in the air now, glowing like a mini-star, its light reflecting off the cave walls, dancing across every shocked face. Ril stood frozen beneath it. His hands were still raised, palms open, as if the cube had chosen him for something massive. Guardian selected, Ril of Telrin. Those words echoed in his bones. Commander, Ryan took a cautious step back, staring at the cube as if it had just declared war and peace at the same time. What? What is the seed of change? She asked, voice lower than a whisper. The cube answered, its voice no longer robotic, but clear, alive, almost ancient. It is a final protocol, created by the first makers. A signal, a chance, a choice. Ril blinked. A choice for what? To rewrite the future or repeat the past. Nobody understood it completely, but Ril felt it, deep inside. This wasn't just technology. This was something living. Something buried, waiting, and now awakened because of him. But there was no time to think. An alarm suddenly blasted from Commander Ryan's wristpad. A flashing red signal. Tracking beacon. She muttered, eyes wide. They found us. She turned to her soldiers. They locked on my location when I entered. They're coming. Ril stepped forward. Then we run. The cave rumbled again. Rocks fell from the ceiling. The cube dropped slowly back down, settling into Ril's hand. Like it belonged there. A small slit opened on its side, and a beam of light scanned the cave wall. Symbols appeared, ancient, glowing. Then, the far wall slid open with a low groan, revealing a hidden tunnel. Cool air rushed out, carrying the scent of metal. And engines. Ril didn't wait. Come on, he shouted. They ran through the tunnel. The floor sloped downward, deeper underground. The light from the cube lit their path, changing color as they moved. Blue for safe turns, red for danger, green for speed. Behind them, the ground shook again. Explosions. The others had arrived. At the surface. Human dropships landed like thunder. Dozens of soldiers poured out. Their armor was heavier, their helmets sharper. These weren't just trackers. These were wipe units, No prisoners. No mercy. Asterisk. One of them, a man with a burned half face, growled into his communicator. Ryan has gone rogue. Cube is active. Wipe the canyon. Burn everything. Below the surface did ... and the others stumbled into a massive chamber and stopped, because sitting in front of them was a ship ... not a human ship, not alien either. It looked ... older, sleeker, like it had been built by something that didn't care about war, only purpose. Symbols glowed along its side. Same as on the cube. Same as the one on Jack's ring. Ryan stepped forward. This isn't in any database. Rill turned to her. Can it fly? I don't know, she replied. The cube floated from his hand again and launched toward the ship. It slid into a socket on the ship's side. Suddenly, the chamber lit up. The ship hummed, powered, woke. Escape protocol initiated. A ramp lowered with a hiss. Get in, Rill shouted. But as they boarded ... gunfire echoed down the tunnel. Soldiers. Too many. Commander Ryan turned. I'll hold them off. No. Rill yelled. She shook her head. Jack gave you the mission. Not me. Go. And she ran back into the tunnel before anyone could stop her. Rill hesitated, but his sister pulled him forward. We can't lose more people. He nodded. They entered the ship. The door sealed. Lights flared across the panels. The walls responded to their presence, not just like tech, like memory. Like it knew who they were, or who they were becoming. Cube's voice echoed again. Coordinates locked. Legacy route, 9E17, searching for contact point. The others. What does that mean? Rill whispered. There are more. Survivors. Other seeds. The last hope of the makers. The ship began to rise. As they lifted through a hidden tunnel shaft, Rill saw the ground far below, fire erupting from the canyon. Human soldiers burning everything, and still, the cube glowed in his hand. But something strange happened next. On one of the ship's screens, a message appeared. Jack signal found. Rill leaned forward. Jack? He's alive? Another message blinked beneath it. Prisoner en route to Earth status. Execution protocol. In 72 hours. His sister gasped. His mother whispered. They're going to kill him. Rill looked at the cube. At the ship. Then at the stars. No, he said. We're not running anymore. Far away in a dark cell. Jack stared at the wall, his body weak, his mind strong. Suddenly his datapad flickered. A message. Cube escaped. Guardian active. They're coming. Jack closed his eyes. And for the first time in years, he smiled. Asterisk. The last shelter space was silent. But inside the stolen ship, everything screamed. Rill stood at the window, staring into the black sea of stars. His sister sat curled near the console, holding the now quiet cube like a fragile piece of hope. Their mother slept fitfully in the via medbay, her body healing, but her mind far from peace. And on the screen, Jack execution protocol in 47 hours 12 minutes. The numbers ticked down, constant, cruel. They were too far, too slow, too late. Or so it seemed. Then the cube spoke again, not loud, not urgent. Calm, like an old friend waking from a long dream. Redirecting route. Contact point available. Shelter coordinates located. Sector V9 Echo Vault. Rill. Turn to it. Shelter. Last known base of the makers. Technology. Allies. Speed. He looked at the stars again, then nodded. Take us there. The ship shifted. It felt alive now, metal with memory. It hummed, curved into hyperspace, and launched forward faster than human ships could imagine. But deep in its core, something else stirred. A second system. One not made by the makers. One ... watching. Asterisk across the galaxy. ... Jack sat in the dark prison aboard the human fleet's capital ship, the Providence. His arms were chained, his eyes bruised, But his spirit? Untouched. The guard brought food. He didn't look up. You think they'll come for you? The guard sneered. Jack smiled. They already are, the guard scoffed. They're kids. Then you should be afraid. He leaned back, closing his eyes, remembering something. Flashback. 6 years ago, Jack stood in another ruin, another war, holding another child, human this time, dying in his arms. Bombs fell in the background. The general said. Collateral damage. Jack said. No more. That was the day he walked away. The day he became the traitor. But it was also the day he realized, it doesn't matter what species you are. All children cry the same. Back in the present. The ship dropped out of hyperspace. Ahead, a broken moon, split in half like an egg cracked open. Between its shattered remains, a dark object floated, hidden inside the debris. The Echo Vault. It didn't look like much. Just a dome, old, silent. But as they approached, the cube flared again. The dome opened. The ship entered. Inside, a secret city, dark but intact. Machines long abandoned. Technology that looked like it could bend time itself. Rill stepped out. Everything felt ancient and awake. The cube whispered, Welcome to the last shelter. Exploring the vault, Rill and his sister wandered halls filled with strange writing. Rooms where gravity flickered. Mirrors that showed possible futures. They found what they needed. Medical help for their mother, data on Jack's location, and most important, a ship faster than anything in the human fleet. But that's when things turned. In the vault's core, they found a machine, shaped like a ring, pulsing faintly. As they entered the room, it lit up, scanning Rill. A voice spoke, not the cube. Something older. Guardian confirmed. Initiate judgment protocol. Rill froze. Judgment? The cube replied. To activate the seed's full power, the Guardian must choose. Restore what was, or erase what could be. One choice creates peace. The other ends war. Forever. Rill stepped back. I don't understand. Suddenly alarms. Red lights. The ship's console flared. Incoming vessel, unregistered, class Hunter. They weren't alone. The Hunters arrived sleek, silent. Bone-like ships dropped from orbit like daggers. These weren't human. These weren't the Makers. These were something worse. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They just attacked. Boom. The first blast hit the vault's outer shield. The structure groaned. Inside, the systems began to fail. Lights flickered, gravity cracked, the cube pulsed faster. Guardian must decide, stay and fight, or escape and save the traitor. Rill clenched his fists. The seed was never just a key. It was a test. He looked at his sister. Then at the image of Jack on the screen, time ticking down, 43 hours. 42, 41. Then he spoke. We're not choosing between peace or war. We're choosing both. He grabbed the cube, ran to the Maker ship, and shouted, Set course, Earth, full speed. If the Hunters want war, we'll bring them a rescue first, and in a faraway cell. Jack opened his eyes suddenly. He felt it. Hope. Not alone anymore. Earth. Floating city in orbit, polished towers, iron gray sky. And at the heart of it, the Providence, the largest warship ever built by humans. Inside it, silence. A prisoner waited in a cold metal cell. His name was Jack. Around him, cameras, guards. A glowing red timer counting down. Execution in 5 hours 11 minutes. Jack looked calm. He sat on the floor, eyes closed, hands chained, heartbeat steady. But behind those calm eyes, a plan was already in motion. Above Earth, breaking orbit, the stolen Maker ship dropped from hyperspace. With a flash of white-blue light, inside, Rill, his sister, his mother, and the cube. They had no army, no allies, just the last ship of a forgotten people. And a boy who was never meant to be a hero, but today, He chose to be one. The cube hovered beside him, glowing bright. Guardian. Arrival complete. Hostile defenses detected. Shall I engage? Stealth? Rill nodded. Yes, and find Jack. Tracking signature. Locked. Cell block Theta. Inside the Providence. Commander Ryan walked through the prison deck, her steps slow. She'd escaped the hunters. She'd survived the vault. And now, she was here, not as an officer, not as a soldier, but as a witness. She'd seen what the seed could do, and what it meant to trust the enemy. She stopped in front of Jack's cell. I thought you'd be gone by now. Jack said, I came to watch, she replied. Watch what? She smiled slightly. The galaxy change. Asterisk alarms. The lights flickered. Sirens screamed. The ship shook. Unauthorized breach. Sector 9. Interior shield down. The Maker ship had infiltrated Earth's most secure warship. With no weapons. No army. Just one boy. Inside the ship, Rill moved fast, the cube showing him paths. Unlocking doors, disabling sensors. His heart raced, but his focus never wavered. His sister whispered, they'll find us. No, Rill said. They'll see us. He turned a corner and came face to face with 4 human guards. They raised their weapons. He raised the cube. Stop, he said. The cube pulsed. For one long second, the guards froze, and then one lowered his gun. I have a kid, he muttered. Then the others followed. No fight. Just choice. Asterisk. Cell block Theta. Jack stood as the power shut down. His cell door opened. Smoke poured in. From it stepped a small figure holding light in his hand. Jack, Rill said, we're here. Jack stared at him like seeing a miracle walk. How? Rill held up the cube. You gave us a future. We came to return the favor. But Earth wasn't ready to let go. Ships surrounded the Providence. Guns armed. Orders were shouted. They're stealing the traitor. Shoot them down. Destroy the seed. Then, the final twist. The cube rose high. It spoke, but not just to Rill, not to Jack. To everyone. Asterisk. Humans of Earth, you created war. But you also created Jack. You destroyed homes. But you also saved this family. You feared the future. But this child carries it now. We offer one last message. And then, every screen on every human ship turned on. And showed the truth. Footage from the vault. The children running. The hunters killing, Jack protecting. Rill choosing mercy. It showed the power of the seed not as a weapon, but as a bridge. Asterisk. The standoff. Dozens of human ships. One maker ship, one boy. One cube. Then the guns powered down, and a voice came over the human comes. Let them go. If this is the future, I'd rather see it than stop it. Days later, Jack sat beside Rill on a green hill, far from warships, far from cities. They're calling it peace, Jack said. Rill smiled. It's just lunch without someone shooting at you. Jack laughed. You did it. Rill shook his head. We did. Nearby, human and alien children played together, chasing a floating cube like it was a balloon. Peace didn't roar. It didn't shine. It just was. The cube rose into the sky one last time. Guardian confirmed. Mission complete. You are not alone anymore. The stars blinked above. And somewhere, far beyond them, others began to wake. The seed had planted something new. Not war. Not fear. But hope.